Hello, everybody. This is Red Star One on One, and my guest today is Aaron Huvera. What's up, man?
What's up, dude? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Now, just for transparency's sake, this is the second time we've done this intro because I pushed the wrong button. Uh, but to so that you were having deja vu, I wanted to create this show as a way to get to know people in the community, and ultimately, I remember when I was new to the group, and we had our crew that played in one store. But then once we started branching out and visiting other stores, I didn't know anybody, right? And it seems like the way that this
Mhm.
city works and the hobbies works is like there are groups that like, well, I go to this one probably because it's near to me or whatever, and then I go to this store, and San Antonio has plenty of stores. Um, but I didn't know anybody, so I had to kind of like take the courage and muster up some courage and ask somebody if they wanted to throw down a game, and people were gracious and awesome as they always are. But it would have been so great to like actually know a little bit about these people. So I'm hoping that this show serves to do just that. So um, when somebody goes to a store and then they see Aaron's smiling face, they're like, "Oh, dude, I totally I know this guy a little bit. Like like I'm a cook too, right?" And then they're like,
Yeah,
"Hey," and then that's a great icebreaker. So they, just kind of just building some bridges so that they see that there's somebody there that they probably might have something in common with, and hopefully
yeah,
that'll build some bridges, make it easier to get a game in. But you
no,
are our first guest, brother, so I appreciate you coming on.
yeah, dude. Anytime. Like it's a pleasure.
Yeah, and I see like a common theme as we're doing these webcasts. Like you're in a garage.
Yeah, I'm in a garage right now.
Dude, I'm thinking about moving my whole like this is like our office where I telework, and it's like the family's office. Even though I
Yeah.
mostly decorate it with all my nerd stuff, like it's on the opposite wall. The wall that's behind the webcam's got like Marvel posters, but like the first edition of Spider-Man, first edition of Captain America,
Oh
giant
man,
posters. But like
dude, that's awesome.
if I could have like the garage, then I could have a workshop where I can paint and glue. Because I glue, I do my hobby like next to the wife, and she hates the glue.
Oh
That's
man. I guess with me, it's not too much of that. That wasn't ever a thing because Stevie, my wife, she does a lot of hobbying too, just different. Like she's an artist, and so she's always doing resin and has all this different stuff out all the time.
she's
Just like me,
yeah, she's filing resin and just blowing it at you.
yeah. Just random stuff like that, or she
Yeah,
has like all these silicone modes all over the place and left a bottle out, or we have different gripes with each other's hobbies.
right. We should do. There should be a show just about like how to mend, the with the spouses due to your
Oh man,
hobbying. There could be like a whole 3 hour show one day on Red Star Roundtable. But anyways, to the task at hand, Aaron. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
yeah. So I moved here to San Antonio about 11 years ago now from Arizona, and previously. So, like in my previous life, as I say it, I was a military brat and just sort of moved around for my entire life and never lived anywhere for longer than a couple years. And then when I was in Arizona, I decided I was going to go to culinary school and found out that the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America, was opening a new campus here in San Antonio. And I decided to sign up for it. And I was part of the first graduating class from the institute down here. And one of my best friends from high school, his family lived here. So I had like that single connection, but that friend was never really into like tabletop gaming a whole lot or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. And the years sort of went by, and one of my best friends from high school, his now wife was stationed down here, and I like saw a tag in like his Facebook and reconnected with him like that about 2017, and then that's how I sort of got back into the hobby because I
Right.
hadn't touched it since high school and sort of just went down the rabbit hole
Right.
with the hobby again.
You know what's
Yeah.
what's so cool? I remember exactly the moment I met you. You showed up out of the blue. I don't know if anybody knew you um,
No,
at a
I'm
at
sure
a
no one did.
tournament. You just and I was your first. I remember I was your first opponent, right on the first table.
Yeah. The
And
very first opponent, the very
yeah,
first time I played Kill Team.
right. And it was just like, and I felt bad because at that point I was pretty veteraned up as a kill team player, and you were new
Yeah.
and happy to be there. And it went as it like my orcs like blew your death guard off the table, but like it was like
Oh
this
yeah.
dude was so gracious and cool, and it wasn't like because we're in a tournament settings, and you do have those
Oh
guys that
yeah.
want to flip the table, and it
Oh
was.
yeah.
I remember you was like you were just having it was like every roll was like a save. You're like, 4 of save, fail. You know what I mean? Keep them on the
It was
table, fail. But you were so cool about it. And I was like, this dude
yeah.
is cool. Like I hope this guy sticks around. And we built up kind of like a friendship from there. But
No, definitely. And I in general, I guess it's just like every roll you don't know what's gonna happen, and I just love that that feeling every time. It hasn't gone away.
right, but
And
yeah. Now
but
you
yeah.
said culinary school.
Yeah.
I am I love food, bro. Like I should be 130-pound swimmer's body, but I love food so so much, and I love all food. Um, like we just had sushi tonight. Um, I love freaking uh, Italian. I love um, Thai food. I've had
Everything.
Afghanistan. I love it all. Indian food. I love it all day, every day.
Dude.
Um, now you're a cook, right? Like no, you're like the head chef.
Yeah, I'm the head chef.
And,
I'm the I so I'm the chef de cuisine of Southerly down at the Pearl.
okay, yep.
And
Which my wife,
yeah,
because
so
I told her that, and once everything clears, we go back. We totally want to go.
I look forward to the day I see some of the Red Star buddies down there.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do
I'm
this
work.
too. If you're gonna be working, I'll arrange it when you're working. I'm gonna tell the waiter, just tell Chef Aaron to pick for us, because I thought that was
Here we
kind of
go.
slick, right? That's kind of smooth.
No, definitely. I'll pick the wildest things we have, and you'll have a good time.
Now, how old are you, man? Because you seem really young.
I
You
am
have a
third. I'm 31.
31, and to be a head
Yep.
chef, that to me sounds amazing at 31.
It's sort of like it is a little young, I think, but I've seen like chefs that are even younger than me running restaurants. I've seen them older. Like I think it sort of just depends on the person, really, but it's a lot a lot to manage for sure.
So, one of my favorite shows of all time is Kitchen Nightmares.
I love Kitchen
I love
Nightmares.
Kitchen Nightmares, dude. I watch that all the time when I'm painting and hobbying. I'll listen to Bat Reps, comic book movies, or Kitchen Nightmares, and I've seen them all, and I rewatch
Oh
them
man.
all. Is
Okay.
is is what's? Give me a little bit of how true some of this is. Like you can see
Oh,
like restaurant like your kid walk in. Okay, for those uninitiated, Gordon Ramsay, one of my favorite TV cooks personalities, goes to failing restaurants and sees what's going on, and he tries to give them advice to fix it, and does all this stuff.
yep.
Goes into the kitchen, always a nightmare. Like I'm assuming
Always.
I look at Aaron, like yours is immaculate.
It. I'd love to say it's immaculate. It's a challenge, is what it is.
I could yeah. So
It's
how hard is that whole game? The being a chef, you're running the kitchen. Um,
it's a lot. Like you're juggling a lot of different things at one time. Like so, I may go into work at like 8 a.m., but my phone starts ringing at 4 a.m. sometimes, and it doesn't stop until I turn my phone off
right.
at the end of the night. But you're managing. You're not just putting out like food or teaching people how to cook. Like you're also managing your staff. And you're not just managing them. Like I work with my staff more than I see my partner. So like they're like my second family. So I'm not only like taking care of my family, I'm helping take care of them, make sure they're good with what's going on in their life. On top of make sure our guests are happy, our other front of house staff, our managers, making sure my purveyors are happy, making sure that they're getting me the right stuff that I need. Otherwise, they get to see the other side.
Right. So I just
Um,
it seems like just this big complex machine, and I guess when I look at because Southerly's I've seen the menu and I've seen the presentation of the website and in a restaurant. This isn't a diner, dude. This is like a legit restaurant. And I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, dude, I know the chef, and I watch these shows, and I'm like, that's I Matt. What I'm trying to say is mad respect because I know what goes on in there, and I know what kind of how complicated it is, and I just think that, like I'm a graphic designer. I know there are people that do this. I know other people that do this for a living, and then I'm like, I know Chef Aaron. I think that is so damn cool.
Thank you. It's 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 a wild industry. It's always changing, and I am fortunate to have made it as far as I have in the amount of time that I've deep dived it basically.
Would you ever want your own place eventually, like someday?
I think about it. Sometimes I am all for it. Other times I'm like, no, I'd rather make other people money
Right.
because it's a lot. like I was saying, it's a lot to manage, and it's one of those industries that you can make a good living in it, just working for other people and whatnot. You can make a killing by opening your own restaurant, but it can also take you under,
Right.
and it's
As
not,
yeah.
not even just financially too. Like the stress that like the stress of working in a kitchen. I've seen some guys like completely go off the deep end
Right.
and turn to substances and alcohol and just wild stuff.
Right. Like if you were the head chef and owner, you're
Mhm.
like, well, I'm already busy being the head chef. On top of that, I have the owners and the all those
Yeah,
other
and then you have all
responsibilities.
the investors and stuff, and
Yeah.
that doesn't always sound the best to me.
So
I have a lot of ideas for restaurants though.
what's your favorite food show?
My favorite food show, I don't watch a whole lot because I don't have like cable or anything. And actually, you know what I would if I were to be watching a show, it'd be probably be Chopped.
Chopped.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there watching it and just thinking about all the things that they could do, or what I would do, or what I wouldn't do, and just trying to think of my own variations on it. And then it's pretty interesting to see what people come up with in a short amount of time as well.
Right. How much in your kitchen in your menu? How much is that yours or like that come from like the corporate or because or the higher
So I'd
level?
say about right now, I'd say at least 65% of it is mine.
Dude, that's so badass.
And then the other then the other bit of it is like just the items that have like survived every other menu before it and they're the all stars.
Right. Like wings.
So if we used to have wings, not
Okay.
anymore, but like we do like a cracker crusted redfish with a lemon beurre blanc and a and butter poached jumbo lump crab on it. That thing has been on the menu since they Southerly was initiated.
Right. So that's this what I'm talking about. You're like, here's this dish, right? And
Mhm.
it's got like 10 descriptors versus and I guess what I was trying to say is like this is when I say this is a legit restaurant versus
Yeah.
another place to just a regular restaurant where it's like, you can have a burger and fries or fish and chips and
Oh
one
yeah.
yeah, it's different. I'm excited. It's freaking it's like this group is about tabletop gaming, and I'll get to the questions. I'm gonna ask you
No,
what your
I
favorite
really,
tabletop game. I love food, and I find it so fascinating, and I
there's
so
there's so much to
entranced
learn
by
from
it.
food.
Oh yeah, dude.
No, it's like the one of the things that really like got me into food was like just the different stories behind every dish, and like you can like like mole for instance. Everyone knows of like mole verde or mole rojo, or pipián or whatnot. It's like all these different types of mole, but you can go from one house to the next, and everyone makes it different. And they have
Exactly.
their reasons why, and
Right, because
there's
abuela makes it this way, or yep.
and then this person makes it sweeter. This one doesn't add this nut, or it's wild the different things, and there's reasons behind a lot of that, and that's something that's fascinating to me. I mean, it's I think it's one of the few industries where there's really no wrong way to do anything. It's just what way do you like the most?
Right. That's a good point. Right.
Yeah, because I guess like the prime example is like I can break down a chicken like 100 different ways. Not one way is wrong. It's just what way works best for me.
Right. Or the yeah.
to,
That's yeah.
you know.
So if you could have like your what's your I'm off the clock and I can DoorDash a meal. It doesn't mean from a restaurant, but just whatever you want. What do you get?
My like go-to
Yeah.
right now my go-to is like Pad See Ew from Sawasdi over off of Blanco.
Uh huh.
And it's basically like these it's wide noodles in like a soy sauce in like a thick soy sauce, and I get it with just steamed vegetables and tofu, and I don't know, it's just I love it. I order it's the only thing that I always order from that restaurant. I don't try anything else. Every other restaurant I go to, I will make sure to try something different every time, but when I go to Swazdi, I'm always getting the same thing.
Now let me ask you this because me and my sister talk about this. We're still okay. We're in 15 minutes and we're still on food because we're this is going to
Dude,
become
food's great.
dude. Food is awesome. But me and my sister talk about this a lot. So your last name's Juvera.
Yeah,
So is that Mexican American or what
it's
ethnicity are we looking at there?
it is Mexican American.
Okay.
So my father was Mexican, and his family is Mexican and Spanish and whatnot. And then
Okay.
my mother's Polish. So
Okay. So the follow up question is, I love all these foods, right? But isn't
yeah,
Mexican food like? I'm sorry, bros. I'm
dude.
sorry, everybody else, but Mexican food is the top of the mountain because it's like
So
it's like give me that puppy taco or give me the callecitos, the street tacos,
oh
all
yeah.
day, every day, above anything.
So
Thank
it's
you for
funny. Like
calling.
my background is actually in interior Mexican food. I worked with Johnny Hernandez for about 5 years and started as a like line cook and worked my way up to like running his restaurants at the Pearl. And I helped open every restaurant he has except for the restaurant he has in Europe. And part of that deal was I got to travel through Mexico with him to learn about Mexican cuisine and learn about those different variations and whatnot that I was talking about, and the differences in each region, even like just like I was saying, like door to door differences. It was a pretty cool time.
Yeah. So what's your favorite Mexican dish?
My absolute favorite thing to like, I could eat it all day, every day is, uh, man, that's too hard of a question. There's so much good
Bro,
food.
bro,
Oh
I
man,
mean, I'm not gonna say that I'm the best journalist on YouTube, but I'm gonna ask the hard questions, man.
no, that's a hard one. So actually, let's go with
I'm like the
so
Oprah Barbara Walters of Red
my
Star.
like most my most my man. So when I think of like Mexican food, the one thing that comes to my mind is like a tacos árabes,
Uh huh.
and that was so like tacos al pastor
Right.
is a derivative of tacos árabes, and it was because of Arabic immigrants into Mexico
Hmm.
that started to show how to like stack the meat together, layered with like yogurt and various herbs, and
I've
on
I've never heard
on
of
the
I've never heard
spit.
of that, but that I know
Yeah,
that
and
there's a
so
big
that
Lebanese community. Yeah, like in Mexico.
yeah, no, and that's how al pastor was created because in the native so your natives ended up learning how to like make this, and then they started marinating it with the different marinades that were indigenous to the region. That's how you sort of ended up with al pastor now. And when you look at like Mexican food as in total, like it's all derivative of these various different like subcultures or sublets of people who like moved and immigrated into Mexico. There's like walking through what was it? We were walking through Puebla, Mexico, and you would see just in the architecture like built into it, you could walk through an area that was definitively like Spanish or even like French or German influenced, and it
Hmm.
was wild just seeing all these different things that I've seen elsewhere in the world. I never thought I'd see it in Mexico though.
Right. And then yeah, and then ultimately making its way into the cuisine
Yeah, making it its way to the cuisine and sort of like what you know now as Mexican food.
Right.
It's wild.
Um, let's get to the hobby in action. Your favorite tabletop game, is it 40K? Because that's all I know from you, that you dipped into to Kill Team, but I know that Kill Team 40K, but
So 40K was like my first tabletop love for sure. I never so I've only played a couple games of 40K in actuality. My friend Brian introduced me to the 40K universe back in high school, which I think was probably like fifth edition, and he introduced it to me through Kill Team.
mm-hmm.
And I remember uh, we had these like I think Tau had just come out, and we had some chaos like some corn berserkers, and we would just play on my kitchen table. And I started to get into like the Dawn of War games and start reading about them, and just kept reading all the books, and I fell in love with Black Templars. And then once we reconnected years later, Kill Team was like my number one game for so long.
Yeah.
And
Now,
then
what do you
right
like?
now right now I'm loving Crisis Protocol though. Crisis Protocol is so great.
I think that, yeah, I like Kindred Spirits because I was down on 40K with this edition, and it's
Mhm.
no secret anybody that's had 2 second
Yeah.
conversation with me. So Crisis Protocol, like, kind of like, well, I want to try something else, um, and it's gone fantastic. Now we haven't been able to play it in stores, but I mean, I've got my collection ready. But you and
Oh
I have been
yeah.
playing it on Tabletop Simulator, and it's been fantastic.
No, it's great. It's super and it's perfect for a tabletop simulator. But what I love about it is it's a game that I can pop open and have everything done, and I can teach someone who's never played a tabletop game in like 20 minutes how to play this game,
Right.
and they can enjoy it, like 40K. There's so many there. As much as I enjoy 40K and Kill Team, there's so many like small rules to remember that it's intimidating to be able to play that, and it takes a lot of time.
Right.
And I mean, granted, at this point, I've played quite a bit of like Kill Team, and I've played a fair share of 40K at this point. Like jumping into Crisis Protocol is pretty easy.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, I think most of the time you'll find that, like, the skirmish type miniatures
Mhm.
games. Either I haven't played Malifaux, but because of Caesar's influence, I've bought a crew and stuff. I just
Yeah,
have yet to put it on the table. But from what I understand, it's similar. It's like, here are the rules. Just play a game and you'll get it. I mean, I think you and I both learned Crisis Protocol on Tabletop Simulator fairly around the same time. And it's like,
yeah.
just give me 3 rounds, and it's like, I got it. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I got it.
No, absolutely, and it's pretty. Like I said, it's simple. It's good. It's quick to learn, and there's still. I feel like each time we play, there's something different that it's like, oh, I didn't think about that. Sort of like what we were talking about with flipping cards
Yeah,
at
like
certain
win.
times.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember, like,
And,
there was a time where two of my guys were flipped, and you had what is it, priority. So you were gonna go
yeah.
first, and I'm like, okay, well, one of these cards are gonna become unstunned, and he's gonna be on the injured side. So you're gonna kill one. So I'm thinking, what is it? What am I gonna do if he attacks Rocket, or what am I gonna do if he attacks Groot? Because if he does Rocket, I'm gonna shift the damage to Groot, and then you pushed
Yep.
him away, and I'm like, God damn it, there goes that idea, right? Because he's got to be
Yeah.
within two, and then it was just
Mhm.
like, there's a lot, like, if so cases, and it was kind of like a chess match at that point that I wasn't anticipating. I thought it was really awesome.
No, it's really cool. I mean, it's neat how different each character is too, because there's all those little things that they do. Like, who was it that pushed Rocket? I think it was Valkyrie pushed Rocket away.
Yeah,
And
Valkyrie is the Crisis Protocol character.
oh, she's she's great. I can't imagine myself like on the tabletop making a list without her
Do you,
at
and
this
it
point.
was funny because I loved Winter Soldier. I love Winter Soldier
Yeah,
so much, and I was like, he's the best three in the game. And then you're like, no, Valkyrie's a three. I'm like, scratch that. Valkyrie's the best three.
dude,
I was like, she's a
dude.
freaking three. That's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah, she's wild. I think what was it? We had one turn where the best thing about her, she charges and attacks.
Hmm.
then moving and attacking the same activation is insane
Yep.
in that in that game. So she did that once and then was within range to
Do another one. I think she
who'd
flipped
she
two people.
she flipped 2 people in
Yep.
those 2 activations.
Yeah. Um, so here's a question I'm going to ask everybody that's on Red Star one on
Yeah.
one. Well, I guess we already talked about favorite food, but we'll do it. We'll do, like favorite food, favorite show, and favorite movie. So you
All
could
right.
skip food because that was your go-to, right? But so
Yeah.
show, movie, and show. And
So favorite
don't think
show.
I won't interject when you answer incorrectly. So you may go on.
If I- so my favorite show is Scrubs, actually.
Oh, so good.
I've watched Scrubs I've watched every season. I probably as many times as a normal person would watch The Office.
It is, dude. Some
Uh,
of the and you know what's funny about that show? That show started the non sequitur like cut scenes
yep.
that like Family Guy uses, where it's like they say something and they're like, kind of like that time I did this, and then it
Yep.
cuts, it does this non sequitur thing, and then it comes back. Like Scrubs started that.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things whenever just JD goes off
Right.
into a monologue, inner monologue, and then it's funny later on in the seasons they're like acknowledging that they're like, "Oh, JD's off on a monologue. Let's just go do something else," and they go get coffee or something and come back.
Oftentimes, like me and my wife will be like, "Hey, what was the name of that person?" And she's like, Turkleton. Like, well, that's like the it's the insert name of we don't know. What's the name of that
Dig.
guy? It's Turkleton. Okay,
Very
favorite movie.
Turkleton. That's a much harder venture. Mm, favorite movie. Like honestly, I really absolutely loved the Lord of the Rings series, like growing up. It was every year when they came out, we watched them on my birth. They came out right at my birthday, so I always watched them, and I can just sit there and watch them back to back
Yeah, they're
all the
great.
time.
You
They're at what
yeah,
was that?
no, no, please go on.
No, they're I I watched the movies first, and then I was like, my dad was huge into Tolkien and had he had like a bunch of like the first edition books, and I went back and
Jeez, yeah.
read all the books and read The Hobbit, and I think I actually like read The Hobbit so many times I destroyed the binding on it.
Aren't they?
But
Yeah, they that. I think how many years has it been now? Since
I well, since the movies, they're 20
is
something
it
years
20?
old
I think it was
now.
20 years.
Yeah, I think
And
they just hit 20.
yeah, because and I watch like you. I watch them on the reg like multiple
Hmm.
times a year. I got to have the extended editions because they're just that much better. But it was so. I remember watching it um, the first time I went to see it, and I was like, as a big D&D player, I was like, I was expecting um, Sci-Fi Channel fantasy, like the armor looked
Yeah.
stupid. You ever seen the D&D movie with Marlon Wayans?
No, absolutely, I have.
Like where that look and feel, right? Like
Yeah.
the design of the stuff. But when it was that, and I was like, holy, these guys look so legit. Like it looks practical. It looks great. It looks
Mhm.
right out of my head, like how my characters, my world, my city looked in my head when I DM'd D&D. Like this
Yeah.
practical setting of leather armor, you know what I mean? Over, and some
No,
chainmail. And it's like they nailed it. It was all, and it didn't look
no, it's
cheesy.
great. They had just such a great ambiance throughout the whole series of them. Like they nailed I feel like each of the big scenes they nailed, like down in the
Right.
mines of Moria. Like that's such a great. I love that scene.
Yeah,
It
that's a
gives me
great,
chills
yeah.
every time.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so let's say for people that are like, man, Aaron's a pretty cool guy. I'd like to get a game in. And I know that people are still like, I know that people are still not going to stores yet, but let's just say in a month or two, whatever, when things hopefully are calmed down and everybody's got their vaccinations, where would somebody likely to find you and what would you likely to be playing?
So more than likely, someone would probably find me close to. I live right in between Heroes Retreat and Dragon's Lair Medical.
Hmm.
So those are probably the two places that you'll run into me unless there's an event going on at Alamo Ranch. I'll
Hmm.
be out there for sure. But I'll probably be playing Kill Team at this point, probably Crisis Protocol, 40K. I have some Infinity models I'm gonna be working on soon. What I have several other models actually too.
So you took the
I have
Infinity
Infinity.
leap.
Yeah, so I mean, I've had them for a while. I got them free over the pandemic, and I was like, okay, cool, because Caesar and I talked about Infinity a few
Hmm.
times, and I was like, okay, this sounds like a cool game. And when someone was like, I'm giving away free models, well, it's free models, why
Yeah,
not? And
free.
it's a whole team, so I can play a whole team.
That's freaking
And
awesome.
then I have Malifaux as well too. Not a full team. I have not a full crew. I think I got the second edition starter set for a
Okay,
hell of a deal.
right.
So I've got enough to start right now.
That's awesome, man.
But yeah, and then recently I just got some Battlefleet Gothic models. So
So you're
I'm gonna get this.
all over the place. Basically, if you want a game of every
You
specialist
want a
game
game?
ever made, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Aaron's your
I
guy.
can play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping Battle. I'm one of those guys. I hope Battlefleet Gothic comes back, but I'm at the same point too. Like I'm gonna get these painted, and one of my buddy Brian has some printers. I'm gonna
Hmm.
print out some fleet, and I'll be that guy. I'll learn everything and get games going again for that.
It does look rad.
But
All right, brother.
no,
Well, any last minute things you want to say? The floor is yours.
um, no, it's just been a great time being a part of this community. Like the very first person I talked to was Jay at it was a 40K tournament in off of Alien World San Pedro,
Hmm.
and ever since then it's just been like open arms. Everyone, like any event I ever went to, any little like painting thing, anything, everyone's been open to just like talking about the hobby, and it's been such a pleasure to share a hobby with so many different individuals. And for me, like who's like lived all over the country and just traveled around, and I have friends here and there, it's been really great to be a part of like this little community.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good to hear. That's what I think that I know not just myself, but a lot of the Red Star members like that's what we want to create is to be able to have a home of like-minded individuals who are just cool people to hang out with and spend your time with and roll some dice with and stuff.
Absolutely. And I mean, more often than not too, I see everyone like supporting each other outside of just hobby, and supporting them like with their daily
Right.
their their day-to-day things, like my job, like people come on by, dude. I'll show you a good time.
All right, brother. Well, thanks again, man, for taking the time to be on Red Star One on One. And if you're watching this and you want to be on the show, just hit me up on the Facebook group and just need to have a webcam. And I'd love to sit down, have an interview. And this actually helps me too, because I mean, while we've played, you and I feel like I know you a little bit better now.
No,
So
absolutely.
yeah, when we played Christ Protocol TTS and I'm smashing and I'm just freaking destroying you, I will feel just a slight bit of guilt for it. But thanks,
Well,
brother. Thanks, man.
mission accomplished.
All right.
You're
Ladies and
welcome, dude.
gentlemen, say thank you very much to Chef Aaron. And if you see him around town, just tap him on the shoulder and tell him your favorite thing to order from McDonald's.
Nah,
Thanks,
there
man.
you go.
Bye.
Thanks.